Hey there, today I'm going to try and give you a very brief tutorial on this. You'll get very familiar with this during your course. This is the Zoom H5. We also do the Zoom H4n as well, but if you get a field recorder kit, this is the one that you'll probably get. Now, these guys are usually pretty beaten up because they're used all the time. So as you can see here, the window part here snapped off, the back panel's not there anymore, and it needs a good clean, which I'll get to. You might also find that some of these bits here snapped off, like in this one, so the mics aren't perfectly XY coordinated, and you'll see little dings. It's simply because when students are using these while out and about, people put them in their pockets, they fall out, they're just not secure, and they just hit the ground, things happen. So I'm going to show you how to properly use these, because students usually just plug in and hit record. There's a lot more that this can do for you to try and make sure that you get the best quality sound possible. First off, one major thing to note is that these eat up batteries like anything. So even while I'm filming in here, I just plug it in via a USB and use a wall socket to keep it constantly charged. If you need to use batteries, make sure you have a pack of like 20 before you go out on your shoot, and be prepared to make your regular stops during your shoot to refill your batteries. And my cat has joined us here today. Yeah, to try and save my batteries and my bank account, I'm going to plug it into the wall socket now. So over here you'll see some inputs. The ones that you need to concern about is the green one is your headphone input, your volume, that's your USB input, and this is your power input. Your power button, sorry. Over at the other side, these are more your menu buttons. So you've got your menu, you've got an up and a down sort of tab thing here. And this little tab bit actually pushes in as well. That's where your SD goes. At the bottom, you've got XLR 1 and 2 inputs, your sort of transport interface at the front there. So I'm just going to plug this in and turn it on. To turn it on, you press this little thing down and you hold it for a few seconds. This is going to be quite tight as I'm working with quite a slim cable, but I'll try my best to show. So hold it down and it should start up. These things do have speakers at the back, but they're not the best. I would recommend that you use headphones every time you use these. Whoever's doing your sound should wear headphones while you're filming and while listening back as well. So once we're powered up, you'll see these 4 buttons here. These buttons are basically determining where you want your source to come from, because you can plug in 2 microphones or you can use the microphone at the top, or the set of microphones at the top. If you want to use these sets of microphones at the top, you want to make sure that L and R are lit red. If you want to adjust your gains for these microphones, you just want to adjust this dial up here. You do not need to worry about these two. If you've plugged in a microphone and you want to use that, I see a lot of students make the error of plugging in a microphone and keeping these two lit. And they think that they're getting their audio from the microphone, but instead they're getting audio from up here. But to get audio from your microphone, make sure these are off and either 1 or 2 is on, whatever one your microphone's plugged into. If we get into the menu, just hit the menu button there and that'll open up our settings menu. Go through this yourself and just see what this can offer you. The main one that we're going to be worried about is your in and out, the record, the format, which is down here, a SD card, and maybe record mode. So to go into one of these sub-menus, you actually need to press in on this little dial here. Okay, so it's that dial that you move up and down to be able to scroll through. Press in on the dial, not the menu button, so the menu button brings you back out, press in on the dial, and I'm in and out here. And this is where we can do things like low cut, high cuts, a little bit of compression. Always sort of recommend to put on a mild compression. So if we get into comp limiter, so that's compression limiter. Just going to go in there, and you get menus for, you can either compress and limit these two or these two. So I'm going to get into comp 1, which is just a general comp, input 1, comp 1, and that's a general compression applied to input 1. If I back out, press the menu button. Just scroll through. One thing to note as well, if you plug in a microphone and you get no signal from it whatsoever, if you plug in a microphone into input 1, your button's on and there's no signal whatsoever, make sure phantom power is on if you're using a mic that needs phantom power. Make sure that your phantom power is on if you're using condenser microphones. These are stuff like the NTG2As, NTG1, NT2As. If you're not sure if your microphone is a condenser microphone, Google it, and if it is, then apply phantom power. So yeah, if you're plugging in your microphone and it's not working and it is a condenser microphone, make sure your phantom power is on. In SD card, it's going to come up saying no SD card, so there isn't one in it, but that's where you'd format your SD card. And also if you go down to your record mode, if you record using a Zoom, you put it into the computer and you see that there's like 20 folders of individual audio files, that is because you have selected multi-file. If you select stereo, it will record two, it will record a left and a right, and it'll put them all in the one file, so then you can just click all and drop it in into your, you can click all and drop it into your computer or back it up rather than need to get into every individual file. If you've only got one input, so say that I'm only wanting input 1, it will select 1 and 2. What it will do is it will take input 1 and it will make that the left side, and input 2 will just be blank. In post-production, you will then need to convert it from a stereo to mono file. So it's up to you if you would want to just record in mono and get into each individual file and drag and drop your files into your computer, or you have it all in the one file, you drag everything in and you can convert them all to mono. It is up to you. Depending on your software, this can be either very easy or a little bit more complicated. So just do whatever's best for you. For me, I like to do multi-file. So I'm going to go back, select multi-file. And if you're in stereo as well, if you try and select only one of these, both of them will light up. So really quickly, I'm just going to show you how to use both the microphones, okay? First of all, if you're using these two here, the XY, that'll always come out as a stereo file. You want to make sure that your left and rights are highlighted and these two aren't. So now everything is coming out of these two. I can adjust my gains up here. Typically you would never want anything, if you're not too sure in gains, you wouldn't really want anything to go past maybe about there, okay? Maybe about -6 decibels. So you just adjust things up there and keep an eye on it essentially. If you want to plug in a microphone, you'll need an XLR. I'm going to use port 2 because the port 1 in this is a little bit gubbed. Something for me to look at when we get back at college. And I'm just going to use this Behringer C2 microphone. So it might be a little bit difficult to see here, but I've got 3 inputs coming in here because I've got one here, and one here. I only want the one, this one. So I'm going to turn these 2 off, and now everything should be coming out of this microphone. Alright. At this point, I would then put this up in a mic stand or in a blimp. Well, maybe not this specific microphone, but you know what I mean. And I would try and reduce anything that could impact the sound, like bumping into the mic stand or, yeah, anyway. So yeah, and the record button. You just hit record once and it'll start to record. There are settings in there. You've got two other settings. You've got a pre-record and what was the other one again? Auto record. So you can set it up so then once you do your clapper, once it hears a loud spike, this will start to record for you automatically. I would not recommend that because say that like that simple noise there could set it off and it'll start recording when you don't want it to. You can put in a pre-record as well. What that is you have to press that once, then that sort of it's armed it to record, and then you have to press it again to start recording. That is useful if you are, I've used this a few times, if you are out on a shoot, maybe outdoors, and you need to be ready to go at a moment's notice, but there's usually a little bit of time in between takes. So that's where, if the director's like starting to get the actors all ready, I would hit that once, just so I'm ready to go at a moment's notice, and press it once again to go. It's just sort of I would say it's a safety, so then you don't accidentally hit it and it's recording and you don't realise it. But yeah, so if you're needing to press it twice and you don't like that, it's in pre-record mode, which you just need to get your settings, record and turn it off. Right, we'll stop there. I've droned on enough and I think I've repeated myself about 20 times. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'm going to do some more stuff on how to record both indoors and outdoors. So have a look on the page for them as well.